Alright guys, this is part 3 of our video tutorial series for PWA, and in the previous tutorial we created our manifest.json file where we define few key value pairs such as the name, the short name, the start URL, the display, and so on. So in this particular video tutorial we're gonna add more key value pairs to this. So basically what we'll want is to add the icon sizes for our application. So basically we want our icon to look good even if we use different device for our PWA app or project. So basically what we will do here is add this particular value. So we have here icons, and then right inside that square brackets, then we're gonna add the curly braces, which contains the source, the type, and the size for this particular icon. So the first one is the icon 72.png, and of course the size for that is 72 pixels by 72 pixels. So that's the first icon that we want to use. And as you can see here inside our image or img directory, we're using, or we do have this different icon sizes: 72, 96, 128, 144 until 512. So we're just gonna duplicate this and change the size accordingly. So this is for icon 96, of course, and this is 96. So I'm just gonna fast forward the video so that you won't have to watch me changing all these values right here. So there you go, we added the rest of the sizes of our icon. So we now have 72, 96, 128, 144, 152, 912, 384, and 5112 as the size for our icons. Again, this is for the different device that we're gonna use to open up our app. So for example, if you're using tablet or smartphones, of course smartphones comes with different sizes, so you have to make sure that you cater all those sizes by using different icons that we have here. So after editing and adding all this key value pairs, we're gonna save this, of course, and we're gonna add that here inside our index.html, and we will make sure that we have the manifest.json added here inside our index.html. So that will be link, and then the real type will be manifest, and then of course we have to make sure that we include the correct name of our manifest.json file. So you have to make sure, and you gotta check that it is the same here inside our Project Explorer. So manifest.json and manifest.json. So there you go. And if we try this, let's open up this inside our browser. So right now we're gonna check if the manifest.json file works for our application. So for us to make sure that the changes will reflect, we're gonna refresh our page, and also let's check the application tab right here inside your console. I mean developer tools, and then you could click the manifest. So if your manifest.json file works, then you can see all the information right here. So for example, the identity, so we have here the name, we have the short name, we have for the presentation group, then we have the start URL, which is the index.html that we have specified in our manifest.json file. We have also the theme color, so I'm using this particular theme color, and also we have the background color, orientation, display, and of course the icons that we have defined. So for example, the 72 by 72 pixels, and of course the other sizes as well. Now I'm getting this particular errors and warnings here. So the actual size 500 by 500 pixels of icon 5112. So I think we could change this later on. I think I have used 500 pixels instead of 512. So maybe we could change this later on. We could set the size of our icons. This is actually 500 pixels by 500 pixels, the size of this, and I'm using 512 by 512 here. So that's why it's complaining right here that we have an actual size of 500 instead of 5112. And as you can see here, for the installability, we are getting this particular warning also. No matching service worker detected, so you may need to reload the page or check that the scope of the service worker for the current page a page encloses the scope and the start URL from the manifest. So basically, guys, if you're using or if you are developing PWA, then there's like things that you want or things that you need in order for your progressive web app to work. So of course, the fact of the matter that we are that we created the manifest.json. So manifest.json is also one of the files that we need in order for the PWA app to work. So the second thing that we need, or the second file that we need, or I mean component or aspect that we need for our PWA is of course the service worker. So far we haven't added the service worker for our project. So let us add that inside our project. So basically what we will do is create files right here inside our project. So the first thing, or the first file, will be sw.js. So SW stands for, of course, service worker.js. So we will place all the service worker scripts that is needed for our app. We don't want to place this inside the pages or other subdirectories of our project. And of course, we want this to be on the root level of our project. That's because if we place it right here inside the pages file or pages directory, then it will not be, or the scope will be only this directory. It will not cover the whole project and only this particular directory pages. And the same thing, if we place this inside the JS file, then the service worker will have only the scope of the JS directory. Okay, so you have to make sure that you place the service worker.js file on the right, on the root directory of your project. So the second thing that we're going to do here is to add a script or another JS file inside this particular JS project, or JS directory. So all we have to do is click on the new file, and then we're gonna add here the app.js. So basically what we will do here is register the service worker coming from the root directory of our project, and then register that here inside our app.js file. So the first thing that we're going to need is, of course, because not all browsers support PWA as of the moment, so we need to have a check if the service worker is supported inside the browser. So let's just add here, check if service worker is supported. So of course we're gonna use service worker, or a condition that check if the service worker is in the navigator. So basically the browser contains this navigator, and we're just checking if the service worker is inside this navigator, or this browser, or in other words, we're just checking if the browser supports this service worker thing. So if the service worker is supported, then we're just gonna use the navigator and then service worker, and of course we're just gonna register our service worker file, and of course that's sw.js. Okay, so this is our sw.js right here. So what we could do first here is we could try to log something inside our sw.js file. Okay, so this is a promise. Okay, so this is a promise, so it may or may not return something, and it will take time to process. So what we could do here is we could add the then method, and it's going to take in one parameter. So we're just using the reg object right here, and console.log, and then we're just gonna say service worker registered. Okay, and the reg parameter that we're using right here, or the return of this particular code right here, and then it's a promise. So if it returns something, then we're just gonna console log the return value. Otherwise, we're gonna catch an error. So, and then console.log service worker not registered, maybe some error or something, and we're just gonna display the error that that has been returned coming from the this particular line of code right here. So save this, and inside our service worker, we're just gonna say here first console.log service worker inside sw.js. So save, and let us preview our project. So reload and service worker, and let's just check for the console. Yeah, before of course, before all these things should work, we need to add that inside our because currently we're not using the app.js file. So basically what we could do is input that, or include that inside our index.html right here. So we have here the common.js right here, and of course we need one or another line for our app.js, so that our service worker will be called and registered. So app.js, and save that, and go back to our browser, and we're getting this particular error, reference error reg is not defined. Let's see, app.js. Okay, so it should be placing it right here. So app.js, and we're just now have this particular output, service worker registered, and this right here contains all the information for our service worker. So that's the first step, or I mean the second step for creating a PWA app. And in the next video tutorial, we're gonna talk about the life cycle of the service worker. So that's all for this particular video, and see you in the next video.